On the previous live stream, we were talking about two major support levels to get a bounce. One of them was the higher low from the 10th of May. We can see it was in confluence with the 7/8 Fibonacci. We did get a bounce of a few $100s. The second level, very likely to get a bounce, was the 0.88 Fibonacci at 58,250 in confluence with the daily level. We did get a significant bounce from that zone, as you can see on the chart, of over $3,000. Now, in today's episode, we're going to analyze the scenarios on higher time frame. We're going to be taking here at the DXY, very important, and some big major news that is going on, guys, in the crypto space. Now, remember, if you are interested in trading, you do have Bybit, my #1 crypto trading platform. There is a $500 airdrop for a position that you can claim with the second link in the description. If you cannot trade on Bybit, I would suggest going on Bluffing. Now, Bluffing is growing very strongly, and you have the biggest airdrop bonus of $80,000. The more you trade and deposit, you can get this bonus on your futures exchange, and you can trade with that and keep the profits, guys. No KYC, just with an email and a password. You're signing up in a few minutes and start trading. Let's dive in here through the price of Bitcoin, do the technical analysis, the major levels, the possible scenarios that could happen in the next coming days. Now let's just focus here on higher time frames. Where we at? There is a really nice higher low support trend line here that did get wicked to the downside, and we got an instant bounce. Now this bounce was at the 0.88 Fibonacci. This is becoming the new golden pocket. When we take a look at the all-time high to the pivot low here of the 1st of May, you can see that 0.88 Fibonacci getting a huge rejection, and from the pivot low of the 1st of May to the high, that is where we got the perfect bounce. 0.88 Fibonacci has been one of the most respected Fibonacci retracements right now for Bitcoin, so we always need to take it into consideration. Let's dive in here through higher time frames. Understand the crucial level where we currently at, taking a look at the volume profile. We want to try and maintain this zone. We are wicking down to this area below $60,000. And the main reason why we are holding this zone is because that is where the high volume ends up here. As you can see, we want to maintain this zone as support, because if we lose this level successfully, the next big major higher time frame level of support is coming all the way down at $52,000. That is where we have the spike here, as you can see, and the consolidation that we had from the price action of February. We want to maintain above this $58,000, $59,000 range to get a possible bounce. I'm going to explain why this is definitely a possibility in this episode, so make sure to stay tuned. If we do lose this level, next level of support is this one right over here. Now, when we do zoom in on the price action, let's get the volume profile out of the way and explain where we currently at. We have some higher lows where we can pull some trend lines. It's this zone right over here, and when we connect it with this higher low from the 1st of May, we can see that we are trying to break through, right? We had an attempt the last couple of days. We got an instant bounce at the 0.88 Fibonacci from this rise, and we're looking to maintain this zone. Is it possible that during the summer, we're just going to be forming a huge, gigantic symmetrical triangle? As long as we're maintaining above this area, there's no doubt a possibility that we could just be forming a massive symmetrical triangle. Now, could this be bullish? Well, if we do zoom out, there are several scenarios in taking a look here at the price of Bitcoin regarding Elliott wave theory, keeping it extremely simple. From the low of the bear market in November of 2022, if we still speculate that this is the end of the third wave, or we are still in the third wave, it doesn't really matter. What if this is the fourth wave? And the fourth wave is just going to be a gigantic symmetrical triangle forming an ABCDE corrective move. Very common for a symmetrical triangle here. And we're just going to be consolidating here for the next coming weeks and then get the breakout to the upside. A scenario that we need to take into consideration, as we do know that the overall market structure is still very much bullish. Once we have a major leg down, if we do break through in the next coming days or weeks down to the $52,000 range, that is the zone where we could be expecting a bounce. Now, when we put Fibonacci retracement from the higher lows of September, if we're speculating on this being a third wave, all right, from the pivot low right over here to the pivot high, we can see that the 50% Fibonacci is just slightly below that $50,000 range, that consolidation. Could it be that we just sweeping up all of that order block right over here on higher time frames and just sweep up the lows, hit the 50% Fibonacci at 49,600 and get an instant reaction bounce? No doubt, guys, this is something that we want to take into consideration on a higher time frame. Of course, this would be a drop of $10,000. But if you are going to panic on a drop and you want to look here for an instant reaction scalp day trade to the upside, you're looking at the 50% Fibonacci and the sweep of those higher lows. When we do zoom in here on higher time frames and we put a higher low trend line right over here, we can see that a sweep of liquidity could be the case, hitting 50% Fibonacci right over here, and that could still be inside of a big major fourth wave. All right, if we're speculating on this being 1, 2, 3, and we're just forming a gigantic ABC right over here, and we're coming all the way down to this level, then no doubt we want to take into consideration that $50,000 range. If we take a look at the extension, Fibonacci extension of the waves, pivot high, all-time high, to the pivot low of the 1st of May, to that high, we can see how the 1236, 1382 is in that zone. That is a common area also for a C wave. Take it into consideration, the $50,000 range is a bouncing level. Now that would be extremely bearish, right? That's a drop of over $10,000. So let's just focus a little bit on what could happen here on the lower time frames. Let's zoom in on the 4-hourly time frame and analyze this structure. As you can see, we are fighting here to maintain this level of support. We did get a movement down to the 0.88. I believe so that this range in the next coming days could maintain as support, guys, because we have already hit all of this liquidity area. We've had a major pullback, and looking at the symmetry of this move, it does look like that this zone could maintain here as support to get the rally in the coming days. Now, there is something that is not looking too great based on the possible bullishness for Bitcoin, and that is the dollar index. Dollar index is currently getting a rally to the upside during the last few days and even few weeks. When we take a look at the correlation, here we have in the orange the price of Bitcoin, and here on the candlesticks we have the DXY. There is negative correlation. We cannot deny that. Every bull market top and bottom has been correlated, all right, with the dollar index. We can see here the bottom of the C19 crash back in 2020, major rally for Bitcoin, major drop on the dollar index. Also, when the price of Bitcoin was topping out here at the $65,000 range, 64, 65, we can see we got that double top. That is when we had a major rally on the dollar index, okay? Price of Bitcoin getting into that brutal bear market. Now, this is where the dollar index topped as well. October, November of 2022. That is where Bitcoin bottomed, as you can see, getting the DXY having a major collapse here, as you can see on the chart. So what comes next? We can see also these pivot highs, dollar index, corrective move, bang, Bitcoin getting a major rally all the way up to the all-time high. Now, dollar index is forming slightly higher lows and higher highs during the last few months. It is a bit choppy, it's going sideways, but it is gaining momentum to the upside. We can see the price of Bitcoin is getting a little bit exhausted at this all-time high range, right? The $70,000, $60,000 range, just consolidating now for the last few months. If dollar index manages to break above this lower high resistance, as you can see on this chart, we do not want to see that. This is going to be devastating for the price of Bitcoin. That is when we could see Bitcoin coming all the way down to the $50,000 range, as mentioned at the beginning of this video. So no doubt that, yes, we have lower high resistance. We could see the dollar index now getting exhausted on this move. The price is very choppy, as you can see on the chart. Could we manage to start rolling over? The moment we start rolling over here in the next coming days, it's going to be looking pretty good. If we do manage to get a successful breakdown, the biggest major level that the dollar index needs to break as support is that point of control of the last 2 years. As long as we're maintaining above this level, like mentioned during the last few weeks, the dollar index looks bullish. Bitcoin could have a bad time, as we have been seeing during the last few weeks, okay? Major uptrend here in June on the dollar index. What happened to Bitcoin? Bitcoin's going down. So we do not want to see the dollar index going to higher levels and having an attempt in breaking here the lower high resistance and the value area high of the entire range of the last 2 years. We want to see it reject. We can tackle this level and get choppiness and reject in the next 1 to 2 weeks. If that were to be the case, that is going to be absolutely awesome for the price of Bitcoin. I would expect a big major rejection if we do not manage to break the lower high resistance trend line, just like we tried to break the higher low support trend line with that point of control of the entire range here at the first week of June. Got a major rally. If we get resistance here from lower high resistance, the value area high of the range, we do not manage to break through and start rolling down, that is going to be good news for the higher time frame on Bitcoin. That is when we can speculate that we'll be smashing all-time high. But we need to see the momentum of the dollar index reject and go to the downside. And that is the moment we are going to be extremely bullish on Bitcoin and crypto. Get that dollar index coming down. And if we break through the point of control, it is game on here for the bull market to absolutely explode to the end of the year and beginning of 2025 as we lose this most important level of support that is going to tell us that the bull market is going to be massive, because after this point of control, we could get a devastating corrective move here on the dollar index. Major level to resume the bull market for crypto and Bitcoin, losing that point of control at 103.7 on the dollar index. Fear and greed is also at fear. So this is something good. Now, this corrective move has been very, very good for the price of Bitcoin. Get people fearful. We are at support, like I mentioned, on higher time frames on the price of Bitcoin. When we do take a look at the volume profile, we are basically sitting at the last zone of support. Look at the huge major volume that we do have here. That is what we're trying to hold, because if we lose the $58,000, $59,000 range, we got a big gap of no volume, and a big gap of no volume, guys, is not good. Look at the price action, how it shoot up here from $50,000 to $60,000. The same could happen for Bitcoin if we lose this level. So anybody that is attempting any swing long positions, manage risk, okay? Because no doubt we could form this triangle in the coming weeks. It could continue, but if you are looking for swing longs and you're looking to add to positions, if you're using too much leverage and too much capital, this is a zone where you can get wrecked. You could get that $10,000 drop on Bitcoin because there's no support whatsoever in between $58K and $50,000. Stay away, traders, aware of this scenario. Let's take a look at some news here. We have net positive inflows, which is pretty good here. 31 million today on the ETF inflows in the US. That is bullish. We've got a big breaking. Congressman Matt Gaetz pushes bill to allow federal income tax to be paid with Bitcoin. This is absolutely insane. Bitcoin's kind of forming, it's kind of being legal tender already in the US without it being legal tender, right? You can allow federal income tax to be paid with Bitcoin. Absolutely crazy. Huge sign of mass adoption, guys. Bitcoin is the future, we like it or not. Another big news, Latin America's largest fintech bank, Nubank, partners with Lightspark to bring the Bitcoin Lightning Network to its over 80 million customers. My goodness, I know South America is very much bullish, okay? Central America and South America, very bullish on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Big sign of adoption right over here, integrating Bitcoin, as you can see here, the largest fintech bank, Nubank, in Latin America. Mr. 100, there's a famous wallet out there which is called Mr. 100. He keeps on buying Bitcoin, usually around about 100 BTC at a time. He has been adding another 300 Bitcoin today. You can see his public wallet here, and he just keeps adding 100. There was a major sell here, but overall, when you take a look at the last few weeks and months, he's just adding and adding 100 BTC at a time. very, very bullish. This guy, whoever this guy is very, very bullish on Bitcoin in the mid-long term. 103,000 Bitcoin has been added to OTC Desk wallets in the past 6 weeks. The rising balance and falling market price suggest they haven't found a buyer yet. So we can see the OTC. BTC has had a bit of a major rally. I would expect this to come back down anyway in the next coming weeks and months. All right, we've had a major downtrend since 2022. Just a little bit of a push here to the upside the last few weeks. However, I do expect this to be bought, okay, by big major players very, very soon. Every June, Bitcoin found its local bottom. This is very interesting chart to take into consideration. Then proceeded to rally over the summer and then make a local top in August. Pretty decent seasonality confluence. Will this time be different? When you can see here, June from the previous years, we can see how it found a local bottom. Could this be it for Bitcoin? I think it is very much a possibility. Why every single June finds a bottom here during the last few years on Bitcoin? Could we find a bottom this June? I think so. It's definitely a possibility if we do take a look at the last few years. Bybit Exchange has flipped Coinbase to become the world's second largest cryptocurrency exchange. We have also Binance decreasing in volume based on regulation. Bybit for me, the number one, guys. Remember, you do have that deposit bonus, all right, of $30,000, but you also get that $500 airdrop. You just need to click on the second link and follow the steps, okay, to proceed with that airdrop. Thank you very much, legends, for joining today's episode, and I will see you in the next one.